Hello there, I'm Moldy, and today we're going to be taking a look at my entire Funko collection because, as you can see, I have a ton of Funko Pops here on the desk, and this isn't some YouTuber show them all off at the front. This desk is actually packed with a ton of Funkos. The whole thing is pretty solid. And the reason all of these Funkos are currently on my desk, you might not know that these were originally kept in my wardrobe and they did take up quite a bit of space. Well, today I'm moving them out and putting them on that wall right there, which you don't see a lot. Originally, I had a few shelves there. We've recently moved those to behind to hold all my minifigures, and I think these are going to look better on that display. But that's not the only reason that they are being moved today. I also wanted to show you off most of my, you know, usual 6-inch pops. I do have a few of the larger ones. A lot of them are in storage right now. So if you do enjoy this video, drop a like and perhaps, I don't know, 50 likes, and I'll do another one with the rest of my Funko collection. But also, by putting the Funkos on that wall, right now, that wall is just plain. There's nothing on it besides a monitor that I look at during live streams, which, by the way, every Saturday, don't miss out on them. I do occasionally show off Funkos, especially if I picked up a new one. I'm still out of breath from all that jumping. But I'm not just a Lego addict. In fact, I wouldn't say I am a Lego addict. I'm more of a Star Wars addict, considering Star Wars Funkos and a lot of Star Wars Lego, even a Stormtrooper helmet up here. And though I started content creation, I guess you could say, by unboxing Funko Pops almost 5 years ago, so there's definitely going to be some big Funko purchase later this year to celebrate. I don't think I've shown off every single one of my Star Wars Pops. Again, these are mainly just these 6-inch. I'm pretty sure all of the boxes are here. The only box I don't have is Bib Fortuna, which, not my last place, but 3 moves ago, I did end up destroying the box. So Bib here is technically Funko Pop homeless. If you know a way to get Funko boxes, like Bib Fortuna, for instance, maybe I can even 3D print Bib his own box, because I know I can 3D print the base. That's something I will be looking at. But today's video is not just going to be a big mess of Funko Pops. I really want to push this off, but there's too much value here to do that. I'm going to go through series by series, probably starting off with some of the prequels. I think the prequels would be the most popular. So we'll start off with the prequels, work our way through the Star Wars universe. I might even have a few Funkos that technically predate the prequels. I'm not sure if I have any Old Republic. But we're going to go through series by series, taking a look at all of these Star Wars Funkos I own. And then right on the far left here, I have a handful of Pops that aren't Star Wars. I am going to leave till last, so stay tuned for them. There's some good ones. And actually, my second most expensive Pop, if we get this guy out of the way, my most expensive Pop is not Star Wars. Technically, this guy is worth over £100, which is crazy because I definitely didn't buy that when I picked up the giant Boba for the anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. And here we are, probably 5 years later. Well, there was a load on the desk a second ago, and considering we're splitting this up into the prequel trilogy, the original run of Clone Wars, Qui-Gon, there is an argument for whether Qui-Gon should be in the prequels, I guess, but I like that to be the Qui-Gon that popped up to Kenobi while he was out and about. And then we also have the Disney Clone Wars, the Bad Batch. You've got season 7 as well. So I guess these could be grouped up a bit more. And I really thought I had a Yoda Pop, but I guess I don't from the Clone Wars. So that's going to be something I have to look out for. Anakin is much too expensive for me to get my hands on at the minute. But starting off with, I guess, Phantom Menace, we have Maul and Qui-Gon. This Qui-Gon is probably the most expensive Pop on the desk right now. And it does indeed glow in the dark. Pretty cool. It's not the only glow in the dark Pop I have. I actually own a few of them, and I didn't realize some of the blades and elements were also glow in the dark. But this 3-pack at the bottom of the first column is from Revenge of the Sith, and I picked it up purely for Palpatine. Don't get me wrong, the Utapau 212 clone and Tarful are really cool Pops, but I purely picked it up for the Palpatine with the Sith eyes and the unlimited power. My favorite on the desk, and actually one of my favorite in the entire collection, is right here in Jar Jar. I could say the same about Qui-Gon. Palpatine's pretty cool. Don't think I'd go as far as saying they're my favorite. And I like the Bad Batch without their helmets, as well as Wrecker here with one. I'm not sure if any of the other, I guess the other Bad Batch probably did come with their helmets for the Bad Batch series, but Wrecker was the only one we got for Clone Wars Season 7. This Jar Jar, though, is really, really cool. And though a lot of these are boxed up, the main reason they're boxed up is because they are going in the wall and they're going to stack on top of each other just like this. I did have them stacked up quite tall at one point, both mine and my fiance's Funkos, and we'd definitely be needing a bigger wall. I'm not an inbox collector. I would much rather display these out of box. I just don't have the space to do so. As soon as we're moving, I'm going to have to order a handful of Billy bookcases to display these on. But you can see Jar Jar is pretty cool. The way Funko have got the head down is really, really good looking for a Funko Pop. Obviously not humanoid. And if you don't know the glorious purpose of Funkos, they are all bobbleheads. So you can see Jar Jar's head is wobbling a little bit, and it's quite cool. I guess Billy bookcases might be too secure. You're going to want a bookcase that wobbles a lot so all the heads are just constantly bouncing. But Jar Jar is going to go back so that he fits in the wall. And I'm not sure I should have started with the prequel pops because I'm probably going to want them at the top of the wall. So we should have started the other way round. Well, too late to change it now. Next up in the timeline, we have gaming greats. Well, and the Jedi Fallen Order 3, because technically I would class them as gaming greats, but I think they came out way before gaming greats was ever a sub-theme in Star Wars Funkos, so they don't have the same logo on the back, and instead just show the other pops you could get. We'll start off with the Fallen Order 3 because there are two of them that were, common as anything and released, and I've also got the special edition Purge Trooper, which for this first line completes the three. Those of you with a keen eye will notice that Merrin is later a part of the gaming greats, so it does feel wrong not having Merrin on this side, and the four of them will probably be displayed together despite the numbers. I'm torn up whether I should display them within their sub-themes, whether I go by number order. I think number order is way too complex to try and keep that going up the wall. I have to tear it down every time I buy a new Funko, and let's be honest, I'll probably just put the new ones on the top until it bugs me enough to change them. But here we've got Merrin that joins the Fallen Order 4. I'm really not sure if there are any other Fallen Order Funkos. I don't think there are, but I could be mistaken because Gaming Greats comes out with so many different Funkos. We do have a handful of Funkos now from the Battlefront games, which is where you'll find the Umbara Clone Trooper and the Jet Trooper, though they have shown up in other pieces of media across Star Wars. But we've also got, Iden Versio's also from Battlefront, technically has a few books. I'm not sure if the books came out before the game. And then we have my favorite from this bunch here. I tell you what, Merrin is a really, really good Funko, and so's the Purge Trooper. But I definitely think moving on to the final round will be a show off against all the pops that I've said are my favorite from the bunch, and Proxy is hands down my favorite from here. The eyes, the yellow eyes and the purple wires do glow in the dark, which is really, really cool. And of course, coming from Force Unleashed, had to be amongst my favorite pops. If you have any other questions about these Funko Pops or want to see closer ups of any of these, let me know down in the comments and I'll be sure to answer you as soon as possible. The Star Wars universe is starting to get a bit blurry as of what comes next, so I think we're going to take a nice little tangent with Star Wars Visions. Where is Star Wars Visions in Lego? Funko have given us not one, not two, not even three. I'm pretty sure we got Ronin alone, and then we also got the Ronin with the droid, which is more of a display set and one of the bigger ones that I don't own, but does look really, really cool. I might have to pick up to go with these twins. I have to say, I did prefer the twins arc to the Ronin in the first season of Visions. I'm not sure if we got any for the second season. There was only 3 for the first season, so I doubt it. But both of these twins do glow in the dark, only the lightsaber, but it does look pretty cool. And that is all we got for Visions. Would have loved to see more. Still hoping for some sort of Lego Star Wars What If show to come out in the future. But now we can move on to Solo, because Solo is a theme that I do have quite a few Funko Pops from. So give me a second to organize. Whenever anyone brings up Funko Pops to me, I always blame my fiance because my very first, well, technically I'd had some Marvel ones that I'm no longer in possession of because I got rid of those years ago. But my first 3 Funko Pops, getting back into Funko. I guess you could say I had some sort of Funko dark age, like a load of people say about Lego. My first three Funko Pops are these three here: Chewbacca, Lando, and L3. Because me and my fiance were at an arcade and she was playing this tower game. She absolutely got under lock and key. So we're getting a load of tickets, and there was only so much. It was a small arcade, so the prizes weren't massive, but behind the counter, they had not one, not two, but three Star Wars Funko Pops. I knew what they were because I'd had a few Marvel ones previously and the odd other theme that I'd found interested in. But I, at the time, don't think I even knew that Star Wars had any Funko Pops. Otherwise, I probably would have had some, especially with, well, by this time, Rogue One would have come out, Force Awakens would have come out, and I would have had to have picked up a Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi. But these were my first three Star Wars Funko Pops. One in an arcade, so absolutely got for free. And since then, you can see Solo didn't take off with fans, especially in terms of merchandise and memorabilia, which means they were a lot cheaper than the other ones, enabling me to get almost a full collection. We do have a Dryden Gangster down here, which is an exclusive. Not entirely sure which one this is exclusive to, but for that reason, I think it's probably the most expensive, and a lot of these are worth like half their retail price. But I picked all of these up. I think a lot of these were actually on a buy three, get two free kind of deal in the Entertainer, which, you know, back in the day did have a few good discounts. But these three are, they definitely hold a special place because of how they were won. And for that reason, I think Chewie, with his adorable goggles, is moving on to the favourites round. But alongside Solo, Last Jedi, similar ordeal, I would like to pick up the complete set of these. I'm only missing a few exclusive Funkos, and they're not all that too exclusive. It's nothing like a Lego minifigure, so I should probably complete the collection someday. I think because I weren't into Rebels at the time it come out, it made it pretty hard to pick up some of these. I know they've revisited Rebels, especially Funko have, and released a few really cool Sabine with a dark saber and a few other really nice Funkos. But I've only got the Seventh Sister, and then I got the Power of the Galaxy Ahsoka, which is one of my favorite pops in the entire collection. I really like the Power of the Galaxy line. You had Ahsoka, you had Padme, Leia. I think Sabine was even in Power of the Galaxy, and I do want to collect all of them. They're very expensive now because of how limited they were, and I believe here in the UK you could only pick them up on Amazon, hence the Amazon exclusive sticker. You probably already saw that and knew that. Nothing new or rare about the Seventh Sister, just a really nice Funko, and I think if I had to get one more Rebels Funko, I'd probably go for Chopper, because behind me I do have this miniature of Chopper, and I just think there's something about Chopper that draws us all to the character. But for that reason, I'm going to move Ahsoka on to the favourites round. It was kind of a 50-50. I'll try to group up a few others a bit more than this. But now, let's take a look at the holiday specials. I apologise if I did trigger a few of you with the holiday special. These aren't Funkos from the holiday special, though we do have a Chewbacca in his life robe with an orb, which maybe for the Life Day I'll pick up this year. But I have some Valentine's Funkos. I have a Christmas R2D2, which I have seen Funko doing some like Elf on a Shelf style C3PO, Vader, and probably all five of these Christmas specials that actually sit and hang their feet off the shelf. And they do look really, really cool. And in this bunch, I'll also throw in the concept arts, which again were all Amazon exclusives, but really cool based off the concept figures. And I have all the named characters from the first wave, though there are a Stormtrooper and Snowtrooper that I am missing. And since then, I think they've done quite a few more mini, and almost called them minifigures, few more Funko Pops, including Starkiller. We've got the concept art of Boba and a few other Funkos here and there. But I do like the Valentine's one, so much so that I got myself, this was got to me by my fiance, but I actually bought myself this 4-pack because they're diamond Funkos. If you're not an avid collector of Funkos and not a fan of a lot of the special editions, because Funko went through a stage of just chroming everything. You saw it with that Darth Maul in gold earlier on. That's not the last one. There are a few other chrome minifigures and a few other special variants that, you know, are hit or miss. But these diamond ones look really, really cool. Pinky, purpley color for Valentine's Day. And they've all got some sayings around the bottom. So Mando has "This is the way to my heart." They're proper cheesy lines. Vader has "Join the heart side." The Trooper has "You're you're the droid I'm looking for." Chewbacca has "I choose you," and Yoda has "Mine you will be." So they are quite funny, and I do like the color theme. The fact they all have like chocolate hearts. Mando has a little letter that says "To Grogu, love Mando," which is adorable. And I like the antlers on R2D2, very reminiscent of the Lego figure. But these concept Funkos, I'd love to get some concept minifigures. If Lego released a one-off concept set and it just included, 5 or 6 minifigures, maybe even a diorama, and R2D2 looking like Chopper, I guess that's the closest we will be. Moving on to the final, I don't think any of these are really my favorites. R2 is pretty cool, and I do like Han Solo. This isn't Kenobi. This is Han Solo, which, very Kenobi reminiscent, but back in the day, everyone had lightsabers, so they were nothing special. Before, they were only given to certain Force sensitives. I think I'm happy with none of these. Moving on to the finale, which means they can go straight onto the wall. Next up, I think we'll go with Kenobi, which also feels close to Rogue One. So I think I only have 3 Kenobi. Nope, I should have another one. I only have 4 Kenobi Funkos, so we're going to combine these and take a look at them all together. For Kenobi and Rogue One, I do have a total of 10. Some of these are more special than others. We have a Jyn Erso from Smuggler's Bounty. We have a 2017 full convention Rogue One Death Star droid. Nothing special about Cassian or this Scarif Trooper, but we do have also from Smuggler's Bounty, possibly the same one as Jyn here, an Imperial Death Trooper, which is very nice, and then a regular Jyn Erso over to the side. For Kenobi, we have Reva and Qualan. Reva is a special edition Funko, which is exclusive to Primark, and this Purge Trooper is also a 2022 exclusive. Nothing special about Tyler and Qualan. No, I do have to say, when registering these Kenobi pops, which, by the way, are the cheapest of the lot, the Kenobi pops were even cheaper than The Last Jedi and Solo, which is crazy, but I believe the names for these were like hamburger, cheeseburger, and I'm not sure if it was just a bug in the app I was using or if that's what it registers them as, but they're interesting code names to say the least. Again, I would like to get more Funkos from both Rogue One and Kenobi. Maybe I can get a few Andor ones to make it up, because I don't own... Oh, I do own Andor. He's just at the bottom. But I don't own an Andor series Andor minifigure. I should bring out the Andor pop, because I own a B2 Emo. And let's face it, B2 Emo is a droid, a really cute droid at that, and is moving on to the finale of Champions. But I quite like these little collections. Reva I picked up probably most recently out of the lot of them, including B2 Emo, because B2 Emo I had to pick up straight away. And like I say, very rarely do I pay full price for a Funko. So a lot of these are the ones that not many people want, but I think they do add up quite nicely once you've got a few of them going and you've got a nice little sub collection. Smuggler's Bounty, for those of you that aren't aware, was a little loot box of different Funko bits, and I didn't get the Smuggler's Bounty box. Here in the UK, it's very hard to get your hands on those crates. I think Amazon usually have a few of them for a lot more than you'd be paying at retail. Both of these Funkos I saw somewhere else. I can't remember where I picked them up, but I do know that I paid about the same for both of these that I would have for the Smuggler's Bounty box, and these two are really the main reason I would have picked it up. You usually get like a keyring, a mini Funko, and a t-shirt or something like that, and I'm very happy with the Funkos I have. I realise I'm slowly boxing myself in as I'm looking at more. As we've got to the original trilogy timeline, let's take a look at this big guy here. This is Boba Fett, and as you can see, definitely got more of a bobbling head than any other Funko we'll be looking at today. And like I say, this guy's worth nearly like £150. The app that I'm using is Pop Grinder. Yes, we can all laugh at the name. Nothing like either of those words separately, but helps you track all your Funkos and has a much better user interface than any other Funko app I've used, including the official one by Funko themselves. I think being in the UK, it's really handy to have the American, European, and UK prices. And this is not sponsored for the app. I stumbled upon it last night on a Reddit post of all things, and have now added all of my Funkos to the app, and it can tell me with a pretty decent level of assurance that they're worth over £1,500, and that's before I get a lot of the bigger ones, a lot of the Luke on the Tauntaun, Kylo Ren in the TIE Fighter, a lot of the Funko Pop rides added to the app. So again, if you want to see a video taking a look at the other larger Funkos, drop a like on this video. And now it's time for the original trilogy. We have a lot of these bigger boxes, so I'm going to go through these one at a time and just stack these up somewhere behind Boba. And I do apologize if there is any flickering throughout this video, though I am working on improvements for both the camera and the microphone over the next couple of days. Keep an eye and an ear out for that. But these are the 2022 Galactic Convention exclusive. And though these Funkos were released separately, this is different to any of the other boxes we're going to take a look at today. Because whilst a lot of those are separately stored in one box, each of the Funkos are individual, this is actually a mantelpiece display of all 5 of, I guess, the most popular characters from A New Hope. Again, they've done a Lego, adding a Stormtrooper in there. Could that have been an old Ben Kenobi or perhaps even a Han Solo? But I think the 5 of these do look really, really cool. And there's something about the 5 of these, I think, because Han and Kenobi are sort of in and out and appear as more side characters. Even Chewie deserves a role on this mantelpiece, and it does look really, really cool. I feel like I'm going to say that with all of these, but I like the way that they've got the 5 on the one base, especially as they're stored together. I'm not ever going to want to split these up into individuals. The individuals are worth a little bit more than all of these 5 together, but the main reason I bought them is for the characters, not for any sort of resale value. So I'm really not fussed. Another quite valuable set of Funkos here. We got the 3 pilots, we got Biggs, Wedge, and Porkins, which have pretty similar designs, especially as far as the torso are aware. These are quite old Funkos. We're looking around the 120 mark, which we're now over 700 for Lego Star Wars Funko. So even though I have well over 100 Funkos here, which is pretty much as many clones as we have on this Clone Trooper wall, this Lego Clone Trooper wall here, I'm nowhere near getting every single Star Wars Funko and do not have the funds or the desire to do so anytime soon in the near or far future. I like the helmets that are not only printed different, I don't know if there's any different molds on them. They do look like the same exact mold, but they've done what Lego tried to do with the transparent visor rather than, I guess, printing it on the faces, which does look pretty cool. And they're the big boxes for A New Hope. We're going to loop back to the separate Funkos in just a second, because I think I actually have more Mandoverse pops than I do any of the other trilogies, but there are quite a few. Let's go to Empire Strikes Back, where I have 2 more boxes. We first have Lobot, Ugnaught, and the Bespin Guard. Definitely got this for Lobot. I had a thing for Lobot, not in that way, but I like the minifigure so much. I ended up with 2 from the Cloud City Planet series, or one of the Microfighters, I forget now. But Lobot was just really, really cool with the back of the head, the computer system, and there was something about Lobot that really interests me, the cyborg into Star Wars, which we haven't seen too much besides General Grievous, who I'm yet to get in Funko form, though I'm sure it probably won't be too long with all the talk of Grievous this year. And then Star Wars went and did it with Echo as well, but I don't think they released, I guess we've got the Bad Batch version, but I don't think there was a Clone Wars version of that. And the other Empire Strikes Back box is this 2-pack of Solo and the Princess. And this is right at the I love you, I know moment. I do also have a Han Solo in Carbonite, which I feel like is fitting. I should bring that out when taking a look at both of these. We've got a nice little before and after. And it's come to my attention through this Pop Grinder app that you can get a Funko that is Han half encased in Carbonite, which we don't see on screen, and is interesting. It's sort of like a half and half between the 2 of these, so I might have to get my hands on that. There's a few other cool ones as well, like Vader breaking out of his transformation chamber. For Return of the Jedi, you can see Anakin is missing. He is behind me, and as we are going through these Funkos, I'm slowly putting the ones I've got out back in their display, as all of these boxes will finally be free to be displayed on my wall. So like I said, from Return of the Jedi, we have the 3 Force Ghosts here. This was an easy day 1 buy, and another Amazon exclusive, but all 3 of these, like Qui-Gon from earlier, do glow in the dark. It was a given, and I would like to see some Lego minifigure parts. We've had it for other things, but I'd like to see some Star Wars Force Ghosts. It might not be translucent, but are this pale blue and also glow in the dark? Maybe they'd have to restrict the printing on these elements, but Lego could definitely make it happen. And now we've taken a look at all of the big boxes, let's try and fit the others on the desk. 1, 2, 3 lots of 3, 1 golden variety, and of course Bib Fortuna, who we spoke about earlier. Bib doesn't have a box, it did get destroyed. I will be 3D printing a little base so you can at least sit on top, and maybe even 3D print. I should get some translucent filament so I can print some box protectors for these, though like I said, I'm an out-of-the-box collector. As soon as I move into a permanent home, I'm going to be taking the boxes off and probably recycling them unless any of you want them to display. So you could also just display the boxes without the pops in them. And if you're a big pop fan and are missing a few of the rarer ones, perhaps that's a good idea. But in no particular order, we have a few Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and A New Hope Funkos. I think I'm going to start with the 3 that are definitely my favorite. We've got Luke's ceremony outfit, Han's ceremony outfit, 90 and 91. These come out years ago. I'm not sure if any of them were exclusive. 2016 Star Wars Celebration for that Han Solo there. And they were probably both released in a good quantity for the general public as well. But that sticker adds a little bit of value. And then most recently, 459, which is not recent by any means. We do have Leia's ceremony outfit, which does complete the 3 of them. And my headcanon is that she's holding Chewie's medal, because Chewie does get a medal. We don't see it in the film, we do see it in the comics, and he gives it, I believe, to his family or some sort of relatives or friends over on Kashyyyk. Also from A New Hope, because I don't think they survive outside a year later than these 2 Funkos. 2017 Galactic Convention, 40 years of Star Wars. I remember getting so many Funkos, Lego, and just tins and other memorabilia from 40 years of Star Wars. We have Garandon, we do have Tarkin, who is a Smuggler's Bounty exclusive, similar to the 2 Rogue One ones earlier, and I believe was also bought alongside them. And that is all from A New Hope. So you see, with the 5-pack mantelpiece set here, we do have a handful, nowhere near as much as the Mandalorian from Empire Strikes Back. We have 2 of our favorite bounty hunters, Zuckuss and Dengar, and you can complete the whole lot now. Unlike Lego, early on, Funko released all the bounty hunters, and most recently, they've re-released a lot of them with Vader for one giant jigsaw Funko Pop that acts very similar to the mantelpiece display, and you can display them all very, very nicely. From Return of the Jedi, we have Lando Calrissian. I didn't have a Lando, had to have a Lando, and to be honest, I don't think I have an official Lego Lando minifigure. I have a custom Lando from the sequels and a few other customs that I've put together, like the Landalorian from Rebuild the Galaxy. But we definitely need to get one soon. I also have a Gamorrean and then the Princess Leia Golden version. You can't really see her, but there's not really too much to miss. It's just pure gold. Not an incredible fan of these pure gold versions. Oh, and we also have Bib Fortuna from Return of the Jedi as well. I'm not a massive fan of all the chrome variants and all of the golden variations and stuff like that. The artwork's pretty cool, and so's the retro comic art style. But I did really want the Princess Leia pop. Sorry about that, Bib. I did really want the Princess Leia pop, and it was just a lot more expensive than the gold version. And I think looking at Leia, we can all see the character it's meant to represent. Oh, my favorite one from this line, I do really like the Force Ghost. I think there's not really much competition. Leia's pretty cool from the ceremony, Yavin ceremony with the medal. I think the Force Ghost moved through to the final round. Alright, and that brings us to the sequel trilogy. I know technically we should be going with The Mandalorian, but I feel like getting the sequel trilogy out of the way really builds up to The Mandalorian, the Mandoverse characters, which is by far my biggest sub-collection or sub-theme in the entire Funko collection. And then we'll also look at the other ones at the end. So first up with The Force Awakens, don't think any of these are making it through to the finale, though Snap Wexley I picked up because of the Aftermath trilogy, which if you haven't read, definitely do so because it adds a bit of character for Snap. Nine as well. technically should probably go with Return of the Jedi, where he pops up with Lando, because that's why I bought this Funko. The Guavian I just thought looks really, really cool. And I also have the Lego version. And then Rey is holding the Skywalker saber. I'm still on the hunt for a Luke Skywalker that came in this series. I just haven't found one cheap enough. And to be honest, I don't think I've been looking that hard. If you want to get into collecting Star Wars Funkos, I would recommend probably starting off somewhere like The Last Jedi or Solo, because these Funkos were so cheap after the backlash of The Last Jedi that all of these were bought probably within a week of each other, and then I never purchased one again. My favorites are the Praetorians. I do have 3 different types here, 2 types of costumes, and 3 different weapons in their hands, so they are pretty cool. We've also got some of the popular characters, or the named characters. We got Poe. We do have Paige, which my partner did point out for Rose and Paige. That's Rey. Rose is underneath. For Rose and Paige, neither of them have their full names, and Poe has Poe Dameron. Rey, I guess we didn't really know about Rey at the time, so that one's fair. But Rose and Paige Tico are sisters, and they do have looks that are very, very similar to each other. I think these are actually the ones that I'm thinking of, as well as Rose's alternate disguise we see in that movie. It's just interesting they didn't add the surname for that character. And before I continue, I know a load of you don't like the sequels. It doesn't mean you have to leave a nasty comment down below. So instead, let me know your favorite out of the entire video, and perhaps your favorite from your own collection as well, if you are a fan of Funko Pops. To go alongside Rose, we have Finn here in the First Order disguise. Kylo Ren is another golden one I don't own. The actual figure of Snoke, similar to the Lego version, is one I just had to pick up for these movies, and this was before Rise of Skywalker. Even though Snoke had died, I definitely thought they were going to bring back like a bigger, badder Snoke. We do have a Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi, so that's probably why I didn't pick one up for Force Awakens, as well as a Vice Admiral Hodo, who, no matter what you think of the character, I think was played pretty well. My favourite from this line isn't the Rey, but it is the droids. We've got a First Order droid, BB-9E, aka BB-8. We've got a Resistance BB unit, and I believe my fiance also owns a BB-8 droid from this era, as well as a Vulptex, which I still remember picking up, a Caretaker. Let's try and stack these all in one wall. And then my favourite of the bunch is Chewie with this Porg. I don't know if he's saving a meal for later after what we see him doing on Arcto, but I do think this one's moving through to the next round. Again, I'm only missing a handful of Funko Pops from The Last Jedi, so I might try and complete this alongside Solo. A lot of them are like Kai Frenelli and a lot of the other special edition characters that aren't the cheapest to pick up, but they're also really not that expensive. The backlash of The Last Jedi has left a scar on a lot of the merchandise, but just like with the prequel trilogy, stores were throwing some of this stuff out. In 10-20 years, this stuff is going to be priceless. But don't worry, I have no intention of selling any of this anytime soon. If you're skipping forward through... That didn't sound good. If you're skipping forward throughout the sequels, you might want to stop there, because there are some really cool Rise of Skywalker Funkos. First off, this Funko that I just threw on the floor is an exclusive 2024 full convention limited edition Funko. And it's interesting to point out this one because Funko have started adding QR codes to validate the stickers on the front of their boxes, which is a no-brainer and definitely something other companies like Lego could do sooner rather than later, especially with the prices that a lot of this merch is going for in the aftermarket. It's certainly not Kylo Ren that's getting all that money. I mean, the Last Jedi version of Kylo Ren, should this not be with The Force Awakens? I think I have overlooked this because it's got the same box as the Rise of Skywalker Funko Pops, but I'm pretty sure by the unscarred helmet, I don't know, because his clothing is pretty torn up. Let me know what you think if you do own the pop or have seen it out and about. But Kylo Ren generally is dirt cheap, and usually the stickers add so much value it can be crazy sometimes. But this is the most recent addition not only to this wave but to my entire LEGO Star Wars collection, 731. it might also be the highest number just because of that reason. I also tried to get all of the Knights of Ren from the Rise. Well, technically the Knights of Ren, did they show up? I don't think they did show up in The Last Jedi. They weren't really used too much. But I do have two of them out of what, like a total of 5. So I probably need to get a few more of them. Ben Solo as well is a custom minifigure I need to make for Lego, because that is when Ben returns to the light side. It's like not having a redeemed Vader, which we technically do because Vader was always smiley in Lego sets. So technically any smiley Vader is a redeemed Vader, especially because the torso is only screen accurate to Return of the Jedi. Anyway, I do have my own BB-8 here. My fiance does have Dio as well, which is why I have the separate version rather than the two in the set. We have Janna, who is hopefully appearing in the Lando series. Any news on that? Is that still happening? We've also got Darkside Ray and Lieutenant Connix. I really want Funko to do a Connix in layers like Endor gear, because not only was that cool in the movie, but I'm also just a big fan of all of the different Endor suits from Return of the Jedi. And then we have a Lights and Sounds Kylo Ren. Actually, I also have Lights and Sounds Darth Vader and this Sith Anakin, which if you're skipping through the sequels, you would have missed out on. So thank you for not skipping through this. But I don't know where the boxes are. You can see with Vader, not only does he make some sounds, this was his breathing effect, for instance, but the bass also lights up, which is pretty cool. Sometimes I forget the mic is down here. I think these lights and sounds are really cool, and I just wish they made a bigger one with more lights, more sounds, and maybe even a little swivel motion in the hips. Like I said, I do own the boxes for both of these, but they must be away with all of my other Funko Pops. So these will be standing next to Bib Fortuna, keeping him company. I don't know if this is good company or not. I suppose it depends how loyal to the Empire you are. But that is all for the sequel trilogy Funkos. Let's put these two down and now take a look at the final leg, which is The Mandalorian. We're again starting off with a 4-pack. You will see 3 of these appear again, because the reason I got this 4-pack is it was actually a gift because they are glow in the dark. I think the only aspect that's glow in the dark is this incinerator trooper. I'm not sure if like any part of Gideon is, but I really like the incinerator trooper, especially mid flamethrower. Imagine if we got some of those Geonosian clones that went with Ki-Adi-Mundi that committed probably the most atrocious war crime in the entirety of Clone Wars. But they'd look pretty good on display. I also have a pretty decently high tower of Mandalorian Funkos with a handful of exclusives here and there. I missed one, but we'll go through them one by one like we have for the rest. And I guess I should probably pick a favourite, as I've been forgetting that the last couple of rounds. Starting off with Din Djarin himself, we also have Moff Gideon, and there is a Grogu somewhere around here. There you are. So as you can see, these are the 3 duplicates I have. I don't know whether I will be selling these or keeping them, because as you can see by some of my Lego collection, I'm not usually one for selling parts, but these 3 Funkos are taking up the space of 3 other Funkos. So if you are interested, and I'm not going to be selling them for cheap, but if you are interested in picking up any of these, perhaps I can even sign a bit of card to give away with them, which might be worth something in a few years' time if this channel decides to blow up. And then let me know, DM me over on Instagram. And the Dark Trooper with Grogu. We've got a load of Funko Pops with Grogu, which is why I don't have a Din Djarin with Grogu. We've got a Dark Trooper with Grogu. We've got a Luke Skywalker with Grogu. And we've also got in this Mandoverse expanded bunch another Luke Skywalker with Grogu, but this one is training, and I picked this up because I couldn't find the original trilogy Luke and Grogu training. We've got iconic characters like Frog Lady. We have, I think this is actually called Frog Lady, which they do have a name in Star Wars. They're basically Frog Lady. It's a bit like the child instead of Din Grogu or Baby Yoda, for instance, which some merch does use. I have a special edition Mandalorian with 2 stripes. I'd purchased the regular Death Watch Trooper, but you can't complain when you get a Chase variant. We have a few special editions of Boba Fett. That one's just a plain special edition, pretty common to get your hands on. We also have a 2021 full convention Boba Fett, and then we've also got Ahsoka Tano, who is out the box somewhere. Here we go. Ahsoka will be going back in just a second. Let me get rid of the glare. We have Cobb Vanth, which is a Chase, so I will actually show that off for the camera because Cobb Vanth is originally meant to come with the helmet on. The only problem is 484 is also taken up by one of the Boba Fett's that it looks like I don't own, but Funko's numbering system is absolutely horrendous. The numbers relate to to similar Funko Pops, and then there's gaps every couple. So if you are really pedantic about completing the entire collection, you're going to have to buy a few customs to fill the gaps. We've also got a Mithril, which was part of the original wave, but I picked up when they returned to the Mandalorian. Another Ahsoka Funko. I think you can tell who one of my favorite characters in Star Wars is. And also Fennec Shand, who is another amazing character. But again, I think I picked up that Funko when Book of Boba Fett come out, rather than buying it when it was first available. In terms of other expanded universe, we did have Luke here, who is technically from the Book of Boba Fett. I also have Santo, Chrysanthemum, who is a minifigure we need in Lego. I could say that about so many of these, and I think that's what got me into collecting a lot of these Funkos, is the fact that we get characters that Lego just don't have the amount of sets to give us. But they have given us Thrawn, who you've all seen recently. You've all actually seen recently when we built Ahsoka Tano's door on Peridia. And there's a few different versions of Thrawn that Funko have done besides Lego's one. I guess Lego is more of a toy and doesn't need to come out with different action poses. And then from Skeleton Crew, we have Jod here. I don't have any of the others. I would like to pick up Neil, but this is all of my Mandoverse Funkos, and I should probably display these somewhere near the bottom of the wall because I don't know. I guess Mando and the whole Mandoverse, so I guess Ahsoka, Book of Boba, aren't stopping anytime soon. But I feel like trying to fit all of these together, this is a nice solid base for the display. But before we add these to our display, I'm going to keep a few Star Wars ones just off to the side. Let's take a look at all my non-Star Wars Funkos. We first have some Lord of the Rings ones. Big Lord of the Rings fan here. We have Gandalf and Boromir. Boromir is worth like 60 quid and is currently the most expensive ranked amongst Funko fans. You know, you could probably get a bit more for these on somewhere like eBay or Vinted, but Boromir is my most expensive ranked Funko, and that's just for the regular version. Well, I guess besides Boba here, who's a little bit bigger. But as well as Lord of the Rings, we have some Marvel. We have a few Marvel ones in the other room. A lot of my fiance's collection include Marvel, SpongeBob, and Disney, to say the least. We have Korg with Meek, which is a really fun one. That is in the other room, as is my Woody Funko. But we'll get to that in just a second. And then this Chrome Iron Man from Infinity War was one I got for free with an order of so many of my Funko Pops. So it's hung around, and I'll be honest, I'm not too attached to, but it is just nice that Korg has a little Marvel friend that he can be displayed with. Like I said, Woody is in the other room because my partner has Forky, so we display the pair of them together as with Korg. I think I also have an out-of-the-box Falcon Pop from, I don't really know where, but one of my favorite non-Star Wars pops is this Mufasa Force Ghost, which is a pop-in-a-box exclusive. It's not glittery. There's a bit of glittery. It's like the translucent glitter purple in Lego. It's kind of glittery, but it's nowhere near the diamond pops we took a look at earlier. And I don't think I'll move this against the Star Wars. I think it is a bit unfair, but Mufasa's definitely my favorite my favorite Disney character is definitely Mufasa. I love The Lion King, and this is a pop that when it released, I had to swoop in and pick up. I'm honestly a little surprised it's not worth as much, but I guess pop in the box exclusives aren't usually worth a lot. So that has been my entire collection, but before we wrap up the video, I'm not going to make you sit through them being as part of the wall. I'll share an image over on Discord of the wall once it's complete, and like I said, if this video hits, I think it was 50 likes, I'll be doing a part 2 with my other Funkos, and perhaps even showing off my fiance's if that's something you're interested in. And then I'll be showing off the entire Funko Star Wars wall. But first off, we've got to decide what my favorite, well, I've got to do the deciding of my favorite Funko between all of these that I've picked out. And you probably noticed there's 2 Chewbacca's, a lot of the Ahsokas I've spoken quite greatly on, and yeah, that's about all the other comparisons I can draw between them. But as for my favorite Funko of all time, let me start eliminating a few. I think Chewie with a Porg can go. B2EMO's cool, but I think the favorite is a bit too much to ask for. Proxy's cool, and I really like the Force Unleashed games, but without Starkiller, which does exist in Funko form, I have my eyes on a Starkiller, so keep an eye out for that. I don't think is my favorite. The 3-pack's cool. It's up there for Anakin. So I'm judging between Anakin, Chewie, Jar Jar, and Ahsoka. Which one would be your favorite out of the lot? Jar Jar's cool, but I like the Phantom Menace one with the ball a little more. So I don't think that's my favorite. Ahsoka is a great character. I think Chewbacca's going to take this. I think Chewbacca with the goggles, I think the story behind getting this Chewie just trumps all of the others. So there you have it. I am a Clone Wars boy always and forever, but a solo Chewbacca is my favorite Funko in my entire collection. Well, maybe Chewie and Boba here. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've been going on for hours talking to myself, and now is time to build the wall. Like I said, hopefully this will help a little bit with the echo around the room because it will absorb most of that noise, but only time will tell. Stay tuned for any future improvements to the mic quality and for more Funkos, but mostly for LEGO Star Wars. Smash subscribe if you're interested in that as well as Funkos, and may the bricks be with you always. May the pops be with you?